Hi, I'm Shelley Grabel, and I am the Educational Training Specialist in Continuing Education in the Environmental Training Center. And that means I do many things from instructional design of other people's courses, putting courses online, and designing all of the modules, to helping our instructors and mentoring them, and managing a series of contract trainings. And I wanted to take a course that we currently do in classroom and be able to put it online. But in order to do that, we need some funding. So I need to create a mini version of the course so that we can bring it to the DENREC group that's responsible for it and show them that we could do a good job with an online class. The class is called Underground Storage Tank Operator Training, which is required by DENREC for all operators of underground storage tanks. It's a mandated course, but we have basically trained a whole series of folks in the first go-round in the last couple of years, because it's a new reg, and so now the classes don't fill. So having an online version would really help a number of people up and down the state. And we want to have DENREC complete the funding for the course. So I decided I'd begin with the first module, which is a PowerPoint. And we have our instructors use PowerPoints in some hands-on activities, not very many, and it's 1 8-hour class and they're done. DENREC does not demand that we do any assessment during the class. They get credit for sitting there. We do a couple of assessments because it's not the way we like to teach. I also put PDF versions of the PowerPoints into Blackboard for people who are from out of state and are taking a reciprocal exam. We use the same PowerPoints in class, so I wanted to show you that this is the material someone who's taking an exam would see in Blackboard, and this is the PowerPoint that I am using to and I'm going to be changing in order to make it interactive. So as you can see, it's got a lot of text, especially in the beginning. It's got some graphical interface. It does some short versions of things, but it doesn't really grab them, tell them what is it that makes this important to you till actually quite a bit later on in the system. So I went ahead and took this and I decided I'm going to take just a piece of it and add a little bit of interactivity and a little bit of interest. And the tool that I chose to use, I'm recording with Camtasia, but the tool I use for the interactivity is Adobe Captivate. I'm still having problems getting Adobe Captivate to work in our enterprise system, and we may have to change to a standalone machine because I don't think it likes the network. And what I did was import the PowerPoints. As you can see, these are some of the PowerPoints. I inserted some additional videos so they don't have to go in and out of the PowerPoints to find the videos. And I added some interactivity. This is the interface, so it's a little bit like PowerPoint, where you have your film strip down the side, and you can see the timeline of the timing of each slide of what happens when. And there are numerous things that you can do. This is a very powerful tool. I used only the simplest parts of it, and I wanted to change from an instructional perspective so that the first couple of things that they see is, why do they care? What's important to them about this underground storage tank? So what happens is, after you do all these pieces and add all this interactivity, you can also create what's known as a SCORM package and integrate it into Blackboard, and the scoring of the quizzes will be recorded in the gradebook columns. But for now, I'm just going to show you a preview of what I did, which took a lot of trial and error. So instead of generating the whole thing, I'm going to generate a preview from this slide. What still I have to figure out is some of the slides can go forward on their own, and some of them don't seem to. But I'm taking a 2-day boot camp in Captivate next week in Pennsylvania, and hopefully they will enlighten me. So what it's doing is going through and generating flash file, which we can then be able to look at and see what the entire little program will look like to the end user. And like I said, I did have trouble, and I seem to be spending way too much time on just the technology, which is I tend to do. But eventually, I have a better instructional design. So this is the intro to the module, and then I'm going to add buttons here with the know to click. So that tells them why we're here. They don't want to hear that sound for their underground storage tanks. And this happens in gasoline stations and large places that have large heating oil tanks. But especially, you don't want them to, you want them to care about the environment. But to them, they will know that lost product equals lost revenue, and that's what's important to them. So to continue with that theme and to continue to get them engaged and gain their attention
Owners of a home destroyed by fire file a lawsuit against the operators of the Lawrence gas station. The owners of this apartment building at 838 Louisiana are suing Presta Oil Incorporated after gasoline leaking from the station's underground tanks caused the fire that destroyed their rental property on April 30th. A tenant displaced by the fire is also named as a plaintiff in the lawsuit, which claims Presta was negligent for failing to maintain its equipment and for failing to stop the escape of gasoline from the facility.
And the Kansas Department of Health and Environment holds a public meeting this evening.
So this video continues to go on to say why it's important, and understand that the gas station ended up paying a pretty big fine. So we continue with why are we here, and letting them know that preventing releases protects their real estate investment. And then we tell them who needs to be trained. So we explain this is something important, and you want to prevent both the leaks and the fires and the fines and the damage to your property. And this is just a graphic that shows them who has to attend, and I'm going to try to turn this into just a matching little Quizlet. So that will be my next interactivity. And then we explain course objectives, and they're using the Bloom's taxonomy. So it uses a variety of both understanding and ability to perform, to complete, to discuss. So it's a lot of skills, knowledge, and understanding, which is hard to do in 7 hours. So I then say, well, let's see what you already know about your system. And I give them a picture of an underground storage tank system and ask them to choose the areas that are most likely to leak. So if they click on this one, and this one, and I submit it, it's going to say try again. So when I say try again, the ones I already chose are still chosen, so I clear that. And then I say, oh, it's going to be the submersible pump and the underground sump and the spill bucket. So, and then I click submit. It says correct, and I press anywhere. And if it were a longer quiz, this would be useful. And if I review the quiz again, it'll say, yep, see the thumbs up? That's exactly what you got right. So I click next and continue, and we are explaining to them through the eyes of an inspector what they're looking for. So I tried to say, well, this is the process the inspector goes through, so you need to be ready for this.
Has just arrived at a local gas station,
and this
but
one,
not to gas up.
That is what I've gotten so far, and it gives them both reason to do the compliance and so that is what I did for my project, and hopefully I will continue to clean that up and have a product for DENREC to be able to look at.